All right, folks, welcome. It's another Friday in the land, and let's just believe you are towing the rules, the do's and the don'ts concerning COVID-19. I'm Citizen Jones. Today on the program, NCDC raises alarm over possibility of coronavirus spreading to every state in the country, just as the number of confirmed cases rise to 442. Did you hear that? And later on, police arrest suspected killers of Funmi Olakunrin, daughter of Afenifere leader Reuben Fashionroti. I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, who is observing the social distancing from in every ramification, right, yes. Wrong?
I wish that the distance between me and you could be greater.
This is up to 1 meter.
But it's a small studio.
No, it's all right.
It's a small studio, so we accept things like that.
Thankfully, Yomi Owode is farther from me.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
It's probably about 6 feet.
Yomi Owode, money don't okay, money don't complete.
Yes, it's complete.
That's the name from birth?
Yes, from birth.
You haven't changed it?
No, I haven't changed it.
The money still they complete.
It's very complete. We have a lot of accountants in our family, so.
Here we go again. All right, so the team is ready. I hope you are. Okay, folks, you know, in these interesting times, the times we are going through, millions of Nigerians, ever so difficult to please or persuade, do not require knowledge, but certainty. The National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has raised the alarm over the possibility of coronavirus spreading to every state of our country. Meanwhile, the number of confirmed cases of the contagion in our land now stands at 442. Yes, you heard that. The NCDC, as a clearinghouse in these matters, cannot be raising an alarm. But let's listen to a cleric outside the shores of our land who is not happy with the abuse of lockdown order imposed by government to contain the virus. Please come with me.
A brother called me a couple of days ago telling me, Sheikh, there is a big problem in Nigeria. The people are unable to understand how serious it is. Though there is a lockdown by the authorities, by the Muslim President Buhari, yet people insist, some people insisted on performing Jumu'ah prayer. And he sent me a clip of thousands of Muslims and worshippers facing one another in a very crowded area and thinking that nothing could happen to us. Either this, or we are so poor, dying is okay. Akhi, don't be a Rambo. Dying is okay for you. I have no problem. You can go and die. But why infect your mother, your grandmother, the children in the family, the innocent who come and hug you and kiss you, thinking that you are their loved one who cares for them and for their safety? If you don't care about yourself, give some attention to the community, to the society, to the other Muslims. Would you like to be infected? If someone comes to you and say, listen, I have it and I'm going to infect you with it. Are you okay with that? Definitely not. Then how is it okay for you to go and harm others? When the Prophet said, alayhi salam, "La yu'minu ahadukum," he will not believe. One of you will not believe until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. If you love for yourself not to be infected by others, then at least have the honor not to infect others. The authorities told you, pray at home. In Saudi Arabia, the major grand muftis and scholars of Saudi Arabia gave this instruction 2 weeks ago. Yesterday, it was my second week, praying Friday at my home, praying it al-dhuhr 4 rak'ahs with my family, not Jumu'ah. We've been almost 13 days unable to pray in the masjid, unable to sit until ishraq and sunrise and pray, unable to do the things we love. Don't you think that this breaks our hearts? Definitely it does. But Islam is not based on whims and desires. Islam is a logical religion. It's not based on impulsive decisions. It's based on consequences of your choices. And what the people are doing in Nigeria, what the people are doing in Pakistan and India, and trying to be a Rambo is wrong, is sinful, and is selfish.
And yet the holy books will talk about obedience to the law. Jide, let me start with Yomi. Yomi,
Yeah.
the key word here is compliance. And as he said, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Mecca, Saudi Arabia has shut down Islam, the faith, in a manner of speaking.
The center of Islam.
Okay. Then the Pope has shut down the Vatican, and the Archbishop of Canterbury has done the same thing. So who are we? Let's talk compliance from here.
I think compliance has been a big problem in Nigeria, especially from the beginning when a lot of the instructions were given. Okay, even before the lockdown, when they said churches shouldn't have more than 50 people in attendance in their Sunday services, and a lot of people were not happy with that. They wanted to continue having their services, and they were using, I think, a little bit of religious sentiments into it, trying to get people to whip up a little bit of sentiments among those communities so that they can get them to come to church. But at the end of the day, compliance is very important. When people get this disease, it's not just for the person who gets the disease, it's also the other people who are at risk. That's where the big problem is. So when people feel like, oh, I feel okay, I can go out, I can do whatever I like, or I can go for either a Jumat service or also a Sunday service without thinking about the ramifications and the people who will then be infected in your own community, then I think that's where the problem is. So compliance is very key, and people should actually listen to what is being said by the government, by the NCDC, and all the credible sources of information about it.
Jide, and so this is not about the Nigerian DNA. I don't want us to go into the ramifications. Is this us and so on? Compliance, a key word here.
Yes. You ask, is this us? I say, this is very much us.
And maybe more.
This is very much us. And you can see that cleric is embarrassed at the behavior of some clerics in our country. We
He
always...
specifically mentioned Nigeria.
Yes, the homily, his homily was directed from the beginning to the end at Nigerians.
Yeah.
Oh, I must do Juma. Even this last Sunday, the enforcement team in Abuja still arrested a Muslim cleric on Sunday, conducting congregational prayers. It's as if our people are just determined to make sure that we do not win this
Did I
war.
get the news right that Governor Niger State is in the news, even if for the wrongest of reasons?
Yeah.
A lot of them do not really know what they are doing.
Okay.
Whether they are governors, or they do not know that, look, even for a country like the UK that has shut down for several weeks, the toll is rising. More than 800 people died in one day. This was Thursday. And 14,000 plus have died in the UK, despite the fact that they are more serious about defeating this contagion than us. So what really do these people want? If mosques can be shut down in Mecca, why shouldn't it be shut down in Nigeria? Why are we making so much noise about it? Yes, we need to pray to God. But God can hear your prayer when you pray within the four walls of your home.
He hears you even in the deepest of holes.
Look, if you are thrown into a dungeon and you pray to God, there is evidence even in the Bible that he will hear you. It is not, no matter the elevation, he will still hear you. That's the kind of God that we have.
Okay.
So it is not until you show up inside that mosque that your prayer gets heard. It is not until you go to that huge church. When they said we should practice social distancing, some pastors were conducting services and urging the brethren to hold each other's hands and pray. It's ridiculous. Holding each other's hands when we were told to practice social distancing.
You are not impressing your me.
Because
Or is it
I was hearing that, and I said to myself that
What's going on?
it's because we see it a lot. We see it in pictures. People are we see it in social media. People are sending videos, and sometimes when you see such videos, you think that it's from months ago, but they tell you that this is what is happening right now. In Bauchi State, very recently, just last week, after the governor was in isolation for 2 weeks, he then came out and joined prayers, very close with other individuals in a local mosque. So people are still doing that. People, I'm seeing...
So leadership is key at this point.
It's very key. For compliance, leadership is very key. Compliance at leadership at the ward level, at the local government level, we need to speak to people in the language that they understand. Beyond TV, beyond radio, beyond being very educated and doing all the fancy videos that we see on Instagram and on Twitter and on television and all of that, we need to talk to the people in a language that they understand to let them know that, look, if people start catching this disease and it goes on like wildfire, we're still at 400 and something. It's
442?
442 is still less than 500.
Conservatively.
Conservative, because there's not widespread testing yet. But conservative, we're still less than 500. We're still less than 500 in the whole of Nigeria population.
As if the figures matter.
Yes, no, but when it starts to spread, that's where the problem is, because it doesn't spread 1 to 2.
Oh yeah.
It's 400, and then you wake up and you discover that it's 4,000, and then you discover from there it's just exponential. 4,000 turns to 8,000, turns to 16, turns to 32,000, and then before you know it, we have an actual global pandemic on our hands.
Jide, is it really possible at this point to place a finger on why Nigerians are not persuaded that this thing is real? I'm sorry, I'm speaking like the man on the street, everyday man on the street.
I think that we have not done enough in terms of sensitization. We didn't start early enough, and the leaders have not shown enough seriousness. When I talk about leaders now, I'm talking about governors in the states. Why is it difficult for the governors in a geopolitical zone, for example, to agree that, okay, let us all shut down the same time? I talked about Nasir El-Rufai yesterday because he was the first to actually introduce a curfew.
Okay, yeah.
When he saw that the people were not, he had warned that if you do not comply, I may be forced to do a curfew. And then when he saw that, look, his directives were not being obeyed, he quickly came up with the idea of a curfew, which other states...
So that is us. That's our DNA, in our DNA.
To do what?
Not to go...
That is why I said it's us. Yes, that's why I said
that's really
us.
us.
Yes, it's the real way you want to do a psychoanalysis of the Nigerian. That you must go there. Some people wait until they are flogged before they do what is right. You know that. So this is the thing. The Nigerians always want the strong hand. You don't treat them with kid gloves. Otherwise, you won't get the desired results.
Let's go to a very key point now. Community transmission, which everybody is playing down.
That is the most difficult and the most dangerous phase in this whole thing. Because once someone has the virus, is praying with other people, is behaving like, look, I'm well, I don't feel any symptoms.
The gra-gra you people talk about.
Is meshing with people in the society and then it begins to
make
transmit.
believe.
The exponential growth or the spread of the virus is what makes the community transmission the most difficult and the most dangerous phase. When we get to the point when new cases are going down, that is when we can say, oh, we have reached the peak, and then we are winning the war. We can then begin to give quality attention or continue to give quality attention to the people who are already infected. Once the new cases begin to go down, it's time to rejoice, at least even if it's a little bit. But as we have seen with all of the countries that we are monitoring, no country for now can say it's time to rejoice. Because even China that said, oh, we have survived this thing, new cases are happening
That's
in
it,
Wuhan.
which is another angle to it.
New
New
cases.
cases. New cases.
New
You
cases have
mean
been
new
announced
cases.
in several countries, even in Singapore. Singapore had, just about 2 weeks ago, had zero transmission for a number of days, zero cases for a number of days. And it was one of the countries that could record and could boast of that, even though one of the things that they did from the month of January was that they moved very early, blocked the borders, and ensured that, those who were infected were immediately quarantined. Now, Singapore had a very good track record over the past 2 weeks. But then suddenly, over the past week or so, new cases have arisen again in the country. And it's almost causing a bit of panic there, because they had zero cases for a number of days, and now they're wondering, how did this begin again? Only for them to discover just this morning that it was from immigrants. So immigrant workers coming back to work through the ports have brought in the disease again. So new transmissions are ongoing now in Singapore and in China as well. So that's going on right now.
Judy, let me tease
even
you.
in Russia, it's rising.
Let me tease you. Yeah. No pun is intended. I hear Jamaica. Yeah, you say Jamaica, oh, good old Jamaica. They're still playing it down. I hear saying now Morocco, they help them. Am I making sense here?
I don't know where you are going.
Okay. Ask me what in Morocco. No. Let's talk Jamaica, predominantly black like us.
Yes.
But the history we're getting from there is not as unnerving as we have in Africa.
Again,
Tiny country.
Again, I will say these are early days. This is been projected that most countries will not be able to defeat this contagion until around November.
What
It
year?
is November this year.
2020?
Yes. It's projected that some will continue to battle this disease right into next year, and that the earliest a vaccine could come out is September. I know the Americans are working hard at finding a vaccine, So a country can actually have zero
At the beginning,
case.
at least as we
Look
sit here.
at Malawi. We are talking about Malawi as one country that set example for other African countries. They had zero case. In spite of that, they shut their borders early.
Preemptive.
Yes, they did everything right. When others did not think it was time to shut their borders, they had shut their borders.
Okay.
But today, it has entered their country. So that Jamaica has not really been a country that comes to mind when you are talking about countries where this thing has really been killing people. Does not mean that things cannot change. If you look at it, within 1 month in the US, the exponential spread of this thing was alarming.
And to think of the
At
big...
a point, they had just 89 cases. And then it
to
moved
think of the big city, the big apple.
New York, yes, because the people of New York, they travel a lot. They travel a lot, and it's extremely cosmopolitan. So we have plenty of blacks, plenty of Hispanics, plenty of even Chinese, Chinese Americans.
And
So
to say...
it's like a mini country. That's why because they travel a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
and this thing is a virus imported to America.
Wow. Wow.
So a lot of them who go to Netherlands, go to China and the rest, so they brought it home. So that's...
Yomi, the story concerning the son of Ken Saro-Wiwa going down to COVID-19 is dispiriting.
Yeah.
You know, can we look at testing capacity?
Even Manu Dibango.
Manu Dibango too,
Yes,
yeah.
it's
testing capacity.
Even internationally, I mean, there's been people who have fallen into the disease that nobody expected that they even had it in the first place and all of that. Now, testing capacity is one of the biggest problems, but it's also one of the success stories of a country like Germany, where one of the first things that they did was use technology and to ensure that they increased testing even when they did not require it. So that now it's easy for them to stem the rise of the disease by testing as quickly as possible.
I hear they have what it takes to determine who stole into the country, and they could see him and go track him there.
Exactly. So tracking and testing.
That's not. It's not rocket science.
It's not, but it's also quite expensive at the end of the day. If you're going to have, especially for a country like Nigeria, almost 200 million people, we're still doing 3,000 testing.
And it costs about 10,000 to test a person.
Yes. And even in America.
Naira.
Yes.
Even in America, they still don't
testing,
have. Yeah.
The molecular testing costs about 10,000 per person.
So it's
So
quite
it's
expensive.
So
quite
we're
expensive.
in real wahala.
So we need to grow our testing capacity, and dialing back to what we talked about with the NCDC expressing fears that it will go to all the 36 states. It will eventually get to the 36 states, but I think one of the big challenges is to ensure that the spread is controlled. So if the spread is controlled, then it's easy for them to manage the cases and not get overwhelmed. So the fear is that it's going to spread so fast that the entire health system is going to become overwhelmed, and we don't have the
And
capacity
yet,
at all
one great
to take care
way,
of
one
these
great
people.
weapon is to restrict movement.
Yes.
Which Nigerians are not ready to consider. Crazy.
It's terrible because even countries that have come up with really draconian measures to keep people at home in peacetime, punish people severely for breaches of the lockdown, the thing is still growing. It's still spreading in their country. So you then ask yourself, those of us who have a laissez-faire attitude to this thing, what really is wrong with us? Countries that are, look at India.
No, you are begging the question. You have said that's us. So let's manage that us. Us.
We have to. I'm impressed with the Kebbi State House of Assembly because they passed the resolution that the state governor or the state government was not doing enough. Was not doing enough to fight this contagion. Literally, they are doing nothing. So they are saying, look, we do not have any case for now, but we must not wait until it gets to our door before we do something.
No,
so that's what the
you must
lawmakers are saying.
wait until your neighbor catches it, and then you say, not true, this is not true. And so
the thing is, the danger in, as I said yesterday, those countries, because Niger Republic, as of 3 days ago, Niger had 650 cases. So, and there are 6 Nigerian states sharing borders with the Niger Republic. So people can easily stream in traders, coming to buy stuff in Nigeria. They can easily come in and infect our people. So one should not jubilate that, Kebbi, we do not have any case. You share a border with Niger Republic. People can easily come in who are infected. Look at the case of those people who came from Cote d'Ivoire. And eventually, I think about 27 of them.
In Ondo State.
In Osun. 27 or 20, if not because the governor was told that they were on the way and they just waited for them, got everyone quarantined instantly. If they had moved into Ejigbo, and they also had, the molecular testing showed that they had high viral load.
Wow.
Yes, so if they had moved into town, we would have been in trouble.
Yomi, palliative measures is a headline story any day, especially in our country where people are fastidious. You can't debrief Nigerians easily.
I think one of the, I mean, we talked about palliative measures, even on this program when I watched on Wednesday, palliative measures was one of the big things that was being discussed about, what individuals are doing, what the government is doing, and all of that. It's very good. Poverty is a big issue among many people, and there are, even in a city like Lagos, where a lot of people live from hand to mouth, they work for daily pay. So I'm a barber, or I'm somebody who sells in traffic, so I have to go out in order to be able to make money, maybe 500 naira per day or whatever it is, to be able to survive. A lot of these people are crying out and saying that, look, we can't stay at home, and many of them are getting very restless, which is also one of the reasons why a lot of them are saying, look, we have to go out, we cannot stay at home. If we stay at home, in fact, I saw on social media yesterday, somebody said it is better for us to, if we stay at home, we die. If we go out, we die, so we might as well go out. That's what a lot of them are saying. So they're saying that they will die of starvation if they stayed at home. So many of them are now saying that the government should do more in the area of palliative measures. That
what you call
being done.
bipolar extremes.
Yes.
These heads or tails, you lose, and so on.
So a lot of them are. So one of the things that we had thought would be very important is, I think more individuals should also step up, and organizations should also step up as well in this area of palliative measures to individuals, especially with this extension. Not enough is being done. Passing out cans of rice to people, maybe 2 packs of Indomie, and calling it palliative measure is not going to work.
The original picture. Maybe not the original picture, Jide, which is talking about information. Information trickling down the line. This is what we are going to do in terms of palliatives. Not one, in place after place, you are talking about local government, councillors, running into rough weather with the populace.
Yes, because some of them are extremely selfish, and they brought what amounted to what was clearly too little. You cannot be distributing 1 derica of rice to people and expect them to be happy with you. You cannot take bread and say, okay, one loaf of bread should be shared by each household, and you expect them to say, oh, you are such a fantastic man. No, that's not going to happen. But as we have been saying since the middle of this week, people must jump in to assist the government. There is no way the government can do all of this alone. There are people of means in our country who can actually distribute these food packs to people, and it will bring down tension in a lot of those areas. Even if
it can be regulated, Jide. It can be regulated.
What I'm saying, you see, even if that joy is momentary or does not last long, at that moment that person is happy that someone remembered that he was there. So I said yesterday that, look, in Borno State, the lawmakers donated their 2 months' salary, March and April.
But were we able to confirm that the National Assembly members forwent?
No, I've not investigated. I've not. Someone was telling me that some of them, that at the time when that decision was made, payroll had been done. Payroll had been done and all that. Maybe from next month, we'll see the effect of that. But the lawmakers, they are the representatives of the people. They are the closest to them at the grassroots level. You can imagine lawmakers from Lagos State House of Assembly, for example, they need to set example. I'm happy someone told me that the Speaker is organizing, the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Obasa, is organizing something like breakfast for the people. And some of his own friends are contributing money so that can
Judy, that's not a one-off thing.
No, it's a sustainable
At least
basis.
You are sure of your breakfast.
Yes. So, his own colleagues too in the house, Oshun, Jimon,
which is saying it is possible. It is possible.
They've been doing that. They've been giving food to people in their constituencies. As I have been saying since last week, yes, you've done it, but you have to continue. You have to continue. Faleke has given food to about 4,000 households. He has to continue. We have to encourage them to continue. The Lagos Island Council boss, Bashwa, has been doing it. He has to continue. You can't stop. We have extended this thing, so you have to continue.
Okay.
Because whatever you've given can only last a few days. And government too, as Ashiwaju demanded the other day, must send money to Nigerians. They have BVN, you can track them. So that when they give them rice, when people like Dula give them rice, the money will now be used to cook the stew with which they will eat the rice. Because you give people grains. What do they, how do they then eat it?
Okay, at this point, we'll take a breather here and come back. Don't forget, Journalist Hangout will always stay on top of the situation. We provoke the debate and make you share the facts we have. We'll return in another moment. Then let's take the subject matter home. Yomi, let's talk about giving money to the underprivileged. What's the popular phrase now?
Well, less
The
privileged and the
vulnerable.
vulnerable, yes.
Who, in your estimation, is the vulnerable? Because I have heard that if you have less than 5,000 in your account, I don't have up to 5,000. You believe me? You
No, I
must
don't.
believe me. So,
I don't, sir.
No, go on, go on.
So I think if we take a leaf from what other countries are doing, I know that we don't have as much money as Europe and America and other countries. What they've done is that they already have a database of everybody. So if you had a job before and now you've lost your job, there's a certain amount that comes to you as a palliative measure.
But you must be captured.
Yes,
somehow.
you would have been captured in the system.
Okay.
For Europe, also is the same thing. You're already part of the system. For America, it's up to $2,000. For Europeans, it's about €1,500. And for Canadians, it's actually $2,000 per month for all the time that the government will insist that you stay at home. They will give you $2,000 a month.
For every household or a select group?
For every household, not for every household now, for every individual that was employed. So if there are two individuals in one household, husband and wife, each person will get $2,000 for as long as the government insists that you stay at home. And these monies are paid direct into your account. So if Nigeria is going to take a leap from that, what we need to do is we have already a database of everybody. Everybody has a BVN number that connects them with the banking system. So if we say this number of people are poor, or the poorest of the poor, I'm sure there's quite a number of people who don't have that much money in their account, 5,000 or 10,000, whatever it is. Then you would then put a benchmark on the amount that would then be sent to all these people at once. So once that is done, I think that's a good way to
Are you also of the opinion that if you gave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you named them? Because that had been at issue in the country. Oh, we hear a billion naira had been paid to X number of millions.
Yeah, it has to be done transparently.
Okay.
Otherwise,
to disabuse people.
Yes, people will not believe that anything has been done. You know, because corruption is more or less second nature in our country.
To you people, yeah.
Maybe you people came into this country before me.
I beg, please.
So many people are inclined to think that everyone around them is corrupt. You know, you just don't want to trust anyone. So this is the thing. It's important.
Believability, trust.
Yes.
These are key words.
We find it difficult to believe our leaders, even when they are saying the truth, even when they mean well. We are very cynical. We think everyone is a thief. If you do a positive story for someone, they will say, "Oh, how much did he pay him?" If I came on this program and I corrected someone, that no, what you did was wrong, which is my right, which is my job. You say, "Oh, who paid him? Who paid him to do that?" That's the way we are. We think that because some of us are crooked, that there is no single straight bone. in the body of the Nigerian.
I tire for now. Okay, I tire for now. Well, it's we see it as it is. No pun is intended. It's a hangout. This place is a hangout. We say the hard facts, even if in a breezy manner. Now, have you heard this before? Some people kill to stay alive, while many more stay alive to kill. It sounds tenable or plausible, doesn't it? Now hear this. Awal Abubakar, Mohammed Shehu Usman, Adamu Adamu, and Lawal Mazaje are 4 suspected killers who fall into any of those 2 categories or classes. The police nabbed these dangerous elements after a painstaking 8-month manhunt. They allegedly killed Mrs. Olufunke Olakunrin, daughter of Afenifere leader Pa Ruben Fashionroti. I've heard this before. A society gets the criminal it deserves, Jide?
No society deserves any criminal.
Oh, really?
No, I disagree. No society deserves any criminal. And there are some societies in the world where even corruption, where even petty crimes like stealing have been defeated. You know? So we do not deserve any criminal. As a country, we do not deserve any criminal. And anybody found to have trampled on the laws of our country, either by kidnapping people or by killing people, they deserve to be given the treatment that they deserve.
Because
And
the laws
they
are
should
already there.
The laws are there. They should be put in the slammer. They don't deserve to cohabit with the rest of us.
But our system is not quite unlike the Chinese one. You are deemed guilty until you prove your innocence. In China, you are innocent, but the court determines you are guilty.
I do not think there's anything wrong with the way it is in Nigeria.
Okay.
The biggest problem is the pace of the dispensation of justice. Our justice system is so whimsical that you can be in court for up to 10 years or more without getting justice. And it's terrible. It kills a person who knows in his heart of hearts that he's innocent. You know, when Beko was detained in Makurdi prisons, he had to use his connection to ensure that some people who were detained in that same prison were taken to court. Every time it was time to take them to court, they would say, oh, the Black Maria had a flat tire, the Black Maria was bad,
In
and
a
they will
film,
not...
in a home video, in real life? Sorry, I'm following.
I said Katsina prison, not Makurdi.
No vex.
No, it was only Ajibari that was in Makurdi prison. I'm talking about Katsina prison for...
So that this scenario you are painting in real life.
Yes, he put his foot down because he knew that the moment they took them to court, they would be set free. People are detained for the flimsiest of reasons. So invariably, they took them to court because he insisted. And those guys were set free. The day they got to court, they were set free. You know? So what we are saying is, I do not, because when I looked at these people, they said one is from Kogi, the other one was from Zamfara, one from Adamawa, one from Sokoto.
And you are wondering the link.
These are people, these are killer headsmen. We've always talked about them that in the southwest area, the bulk of the kidnapping was being done by killer headsmen. When this one happened at that time, I'm happy in a way that these guys were arrested late because the tension was so high at that time that if they had arrested them and
At
people
the
had
time.
seen that, oh, it's the same people that we suspected, honestly, no one knows how it will have.
So the
The
timeline-
tension has gone down.
Okay.
The tension, everywhere we are dealing with coronavirus now, the tension has gone down significantly. So the kind of pent-up anger that people had at that time, that the leader of a cultural, the daughter of the cultural leader of the Yorubas was killed. That tension has gone down significantly. People were no longer talking about it. At the time,
which is telling you that, and I and Yomi, that if the police wants to do it, they can.
I knew they would get them. I have always
It was a
believed.
matter of
I knew
time.
they would get. I knew it was a matter of time. I knew that the IRT, they have the resources to catch this kind of.
Okay.
I wanted to
killers.
add that, you know, because it's such a high-profile case, obviously we knew that it would eventually come to this, because there was a lot of everybody was focused on the police. What's the police going to do? Are they going to come back with stories? But what, you know, we're talking about justice just now. It's really, really important that people get justice. So apart from the fact that high-profile cases are usually police
Sorry,
stands
I was
up
going
and
to tease you before you. From the records, over 72,000 prisoners in the correction centers. They don't call them prisons anymore, no problem. 2,745 of them are awaiting the hangman for years and years. And no governor
these ones
has.
too will go and join them.
These ones too, if they are
go and
condemned,
they're going to join
go and
them,
join. So something is wrong.
Something is wrong with the system. It's a system that is slow-paced, and it's almost like everybody's colluding to ensure that justice is never done. And when you ask them, nobody can place their finger on what the issue actually is.
No, the
in order
issue
to
is
ensure
not-
that
people know what the problem is. Governors are reluctant to sign death warrants. That's why
One of them,
the
who you
governors
know,
are
who you
reluctant.
know, said, "I don't want blood for my hand, so now me want."
So that's the problem. They don't want to sign.
But
They
even
just don't
those,
want to sign.
even those awaiting trial, a lot of them are also still within
Oh,
the
yeah.
system. They don't ever get their day in court. Some have been there for 5 years, only for you to discover that they actually.
Some is just because they can't pay a fine.
yeah.
The fine is
bail
not
money,
hefty.
nobody to bail them and things like that. You get to the prison sometimes and you find such cases, and it's always a big
Correction
surprise.
centers. I know it will take a while for you to correct yourself,
Yes,
but it's
yeah.
all right. It's a gradual
Yes,
process.
when you get to the correction center, you then discover that, oh wow, this gentleman has been here.
How much correction takes place?
Jide, don't open another this thing inside the wahala way there.
Some of the boys who are used as political thugs, who are armed robbers, had spent time in these prisons.
Remember the Kwara 6, Kwara how many? I don't know.
That guy who was in SARS,
Uh,
the offer robbery.
yeah.
You
yeah.
know
Okay,
that
now
he had
offer.
been dismissed. He had been dismissed because he connived with armed robbers.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the same person, once he secured his freedom, he joined an armed robbery gang full time because the police dismissed him, but they let him go.
And
He then joined the armed robbery gang full time.
Jide, we must also, if the police chastises its own, the law must be followed through. If you committed, if there was an infraction traced to you, pay the penalty, right?
This is an overpopulated and overloaded system. Anywhere you go, whether it's a correctional center, whether it's a police station that has these small guard rooms with the iron bars, it's overloaded and overpopulated. So sometimes it's easier for the police to just get rid of these people and ask them to go than for them to put them within the system, because the system is overloaded. Within Lagos, I heard that there was a time a few years ago where there was an increase in traffic robberies. And every time they caught these boys, they put them in prison for a few weeks into a few months, they release them, they go straight back into the streets, because they actually don't have anything else.
They don't go back. They are released into the
And
street.
they go
Into
back
the
to
street.
crime.
They just go straight back to crime.
So, gentlemen, Awal Abubakar, Mohammed Shehu Usman, Adamu, and Lawal Mazaje, they are the new kids on the block. So, are we expecting anything?
We can only push for the arraignment to happen quickly, and for,
Koro or no Koro?
you know, when Baba Falai was attacked, the judgment came, the trial and the eventual judgment came very fast, you know, quite unlike what you have in the Nigerian system. What I want to see is for these fellows to be put on trial. Usually what we see is put on trial and let justice take its course. Usually what we see is they will parade these people and you won't hear anything again. There was a time that killer headsmen were terrorizing people in Benue and Nasarawa.
Sorry, that's the picture of the lady on the screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you mean at crucial times, you are not even thinking, this now woman. I don't know if you are making
Somebody
sense here.
who is under the
Harmless.
under the influence of drugs will not be thinking that this is a beautiful woman. It's you now. You have your sanity in place. You are the one who will see a woman like this and believe, no, I should not do anything to her. The people killed the wife of that doctor in Kaduna. The doctor who built a police post.
That's it.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
And they kidnapped her and her children and pumped bullets repeatedly into her body. Were those ones thinking that she was a woman? That is why no society should retain this kind of people. You don't need them.
Yomi, so Amotekun must be aroused.
It should. Of course, this is because of the COVID war, the war against COVID. It looks like everything has gone quiet a little bit with regards to Amotekun. But even the fact that Amotekun was made into law in the Western state, it seems like maybe because COVID is at the center of the news, we're not hearing so much about attacks in the Western region.
Or otherwise.
In that region recently.
What happened is the IG, I had an interview with the IG recently, and he told me that he was going to have a final meeting with the governors. That is after that meeting that Amotekun will be unleashed, their work will start. He spoke for like almost 10 minutes on Amotekun, how he's now in agreement with the governors and all that.
You believed him?
Of course.
There
were things
you still do?
There were things that we exchanged at the end of the interview that I can't say publicly.
Okay.
I know that the IG is not opposed
You could
to
tell
this.
me when we finish here.
No, I'm not going to tell you.
No, it's all right.
So after I'm sure that this COVID-19 came and put spanner in the works. So that meeting has not taken place. I'm sure that once we are through with all of this, the IG will come to Lagos, meet with the Southwest governors, and then they can finalize the plans, you know, the level of police involvement and all that. They bought the vehicles that, if you go to Ondo government house now, you will see bikes or cadres that the governor bought for the Amotekun. Because he takes it seriously because he too will have been a victim of killer headsmen. Because they open fire on him, they open fire on his convoy. And the agitation for Amotekun came after this woman was killed. It now then dawned on people that, look, you must do something to protect the Southwest from marauding.
Before we bury this, American ambassador to Nigeria was asked, look, there was this prediction by your president, specifically Clinton, by 2015, the country was going to go to blazes. No problem. And the reporter wanted to know what to do to stem the impending danger, quote, end quote. The man said, give teeth to your laws. You mean we have laws to deal with every infraction in this country.
Yes.
Give vent to your laws.
Look, I think that it still takes us back to what when we started this discussion, and we're talking about the justice system and how things flow within the system. You have your police, then you have, of course, the law courts, and then you have when justice is eventually done. When we don't have this process moving like a well-oiled machine, we'll always come back to the same thing, which is the same problem that we've always had as a nation, where criminals are apprehended and what should be done very quickly. The process, us seeing the process on our TV screens being done and justice eventually prevailing, we don't see it happen. Now, when that doesn't happen, you continue to see this problem coming back, and then you have different groups within the nation that continue to say that, look, we are suffering injustice. We have been suffering injustice for 30 years. We are being marginalized. And that's why it continues to be that way because we've never been able to actually sit down and marshal out how to enforce a lot of our laws.
Gigi, as we take it home, it is said that memory is very unkind to an old man. I remember the days of Operation Sweep. Do you remember?
Yes.
Wait and get, if you see what I mean. You waited and got what you deserved.
Yes, got justice. I hope I was talking about the leader of the killer headsmen in Benue and Nasarawa State.
Oh, yeah.
His name is Alhaji Luga. You know, he was apprehended and then presented to the world. Oh, this is the leader of the killer headsmen terrorizing Benue and
surrounding
Benue.
Nasarawa, yeah.
Benue and Nasarawa.
Nasarawa, yeah.
It was the IRT team that arrested him. What since then? We've not heard of his trial. We've not heard anything.
It's like asking me what's happening with Owadume. Is that his name?
Or the army captain Balarabe, what's happening? That's another question you can ask.
Well, okay, we are just about done with what we had on our plates. But let's go back to where we started. COVID-19 is real. Let me spell real. R-E-A-L. Don't wait until it gets to your compound. Yomi Owokwe.
Yes, sir.
The money still they complete.
Yes.
Oh, no, we can't.
Money there.
Yeah, yeah.
And we need money at this time.
Yes, we do.
Spend wisely. Oh.
Yes, we're spending wisely, and we're also trying to help who we can during this period. I heard of estates that are also trying to do things for workers that live around them. So you have very nice estates like Ikoyi doing stuff for people in Obalende. So I think those are the things that are important.
I trust Babajide Kolade Otitoji. He's a big boy.
I claim it in Jesus' name.
No, it's not about claiming. You see your belly now, and so on.
You know, this is all make-believe. You don't know. It's all make-believe.
All right, that will just about do for the program for today and the week. If you missed this particular episode, you may also watch the program on other platforms we'll show on the screen now, and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channel remains the same, but I am Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now. Take